pleasure of introducing the keynote for today's conference, for this summit. And I met her a few hours, maybe a couple months ago. And her name is Deana Jean, and she is known as the Collab Queen. And it's funny that I met her in a collaboration kind of environment. And so she is a professional speaker. She's a master connector and launch strategist who prioritizes elevating the voices and businesses of diverse women. She's the CEO of Intentional Excellence Consulting, LLC, and the visionary of the Success Tribe. She is also a proud breast cancer survivor and Brooklyn native. You will hear her next. And welcome, Deana Jean, to the summit. How are you?
I'm doing so well, Dr. Rusty. How are you?
I am great. So I know I gave a little bit of an introduction, but I wanted you to just introduce yourself, kind of share a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Rusty. My name is Deana Jean. As you can see, I am your collab queen, and I specifically work with experts who are tremendous at what they do. And they really and truly want to be connected to other experts and audiences that represent the future them, that represent the abundance them, that represent the new thing that they're doing. I bring those folks together in order to be able to create strong collaborative relationships that are mutually beneficial. And the community that we do that in is called the Success Tribe.
I love that. And as my keynote, there was it's very special to have you here, and as the collab queen. So I'm gonna have you kind of just share how we got together, and it's true to form as you wearing the crown of the collaborator. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. So I pride myself on being the collab queen. And all that means is that I have an uncanny ability that to be able to create high trust relationships pretty quickly with folks, even if it is in a sea of chaos, or even if it is our first time connecting and meeting. So the way that Dr. Marcia, you and I connected is through a networking community, and within that networking community, you had shared some wins around some things that you were doing, and you used my magic word, you used collaboration. And in you doing that, I got in your messages and your DMs and introduced myself and said, hey, like, I'd love to be able to learn more about what you're doing for collaboration and how me and my community might be able to help serve you, how we can create something that would be mutually beneficial. We jumped on a Zoom chat, a brief Zoom chat, hit it off, and found opportunities to see where our work is similar in that we serve very similar audiences, but also saw ways that we could be able to add value. And then there was an opportunity for us to do something to get a quick win, a collaboration that went well and had the opportunity for both of us to benefit from it. And then things just kind of started to build from there. And it's crazy. It's been probably only about a month, but we've been able to do some cool stuff together so far.
We have been. And as you said, so what you said is you slid into my DMs. And I want to stay here just for a second. And I have had lots of people slide into my DMs, and I would say probably 98% of them are like this, like icky, like what right?
Little icky, little icky.
Icky, right? But I can say 1000% that your message to me was brief, it was clear, it provided value, and it was intriguing. And so all of those things made me quickly say, sure. So I want you to walk through, if you're able to share, how if for those that are listening, how do you do that? How do you slide into a DM and become welcoming as opposed to something that is repelling?
Absolutely. That's such a great question. And I will preface this with my typical disclaimer with folks. So I've been an entrepreneur, full time entrepreneur now since the end of 2019, but I am very much a recovering salesperson. I tell people that all the time. So I spent about a decade and a half in sales training, coaching, and consulting. And I say that to say one of the things that made me and my team super successful when it came to specifically consultative sales, so not transactional sales, but sales where you actually have to be positioned as an expert, right? Where you're adding value, was to be able to do a couple of things. The first thing is that to remember that sales, right? All that is being a person, right? Being a real person for someone and helping them understand how the two of you can help them accomplish a goal together. How the two of you can help them accomplish a goal together. So there are a couple of things that I mentioned to people specifically around connecting with people in the online space, because it's a little different than when you connect with people in person. Dr. Marcia does a ton of amazing networking events. And one of the biggest things that I get from people oftentimes is, Deanna, I love to do in-person networking things, but online, it's a little weird. So tip number one, use your gift. Like, use the thing that distinguishes you to break the ice. So for me, one of the things that distinguishes me is my voice and the way that I speak and the power behind which I speak. I would be a fool not to use that as the first point of interaction with people when I'm getting in their DMs. So one of the things that I do differently is that instead of leaving typed notes, I leave voice notes. So that's the first thing,
That's
is if
good.
you leave a voice note. Why? Because now if somebody sees your typed note, they can see it pop up on their screen. They're like, oh, that's another person. And they almost dismiss it immediately. But when you see a voice clip pop up, you're like, huh. Even if you're not, even if you're almost like, I don't want to talk to this person, you're intrigued by what they have to say, right? So I suggest using your gift. For some people, that may be that they have a gift for writing and they can write something really compelling really quickly. For me, to my voice, it helps me to stand out from other people that are getting in people's DMs. Second thing is, be direct and concise. Be direct and concise. Remember, the goal is just to get a response. The goal is to get somebody to talk to you. If you are walking into a networking event and you are introducing yourself to someone, the hope is that you would not regurgitate, the last 10 years of your life to that person in the intro, right? So talk the way that you would create an engagement. Open the door for someone to respond, right? So keep it really direct and succinct. And typically what I find is being able to identify who you are, what intrigued you to connect with that person, and any value that you can add to what they do, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really compelling. And then the third thing that I would say is, have a way to take that conversation offline. Identify a way to take that conversation offline. Sometimes that may be having a link, a scheduling link that allows for people to, after you've, had a few of these voice clip notes back and forth, to get onto your calendar. Maybe it is inviting them to, have a lunch with you, whatever it is. Do something that takes you from maybe that really crowded space that people are just scrolling through, that sometimes people want to avoid having one-on-one interaction in, and giving them the opportunity to say yes to a more intimate, but also more engaging interaction. So those are 3 tips that I would give.
Woo, you didn't drop some gems up in here. Thank you so much. And so you have come using some of those principles. I know that you have a consultant business and you also have the success tribe, right? But I also know, and I want to know all about that, but I know that you were in corporate for a while. Tell me how you got here.
Great. So I was in corporate sales training and development for a little over a decade and a half. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, yes, I started when I was 10. But no, I was for about a decade and a half. And in that corporate career, I was really, really intentional about from the very beginning of my career life, creating a career that was kind of centered around my life versus building a life around my career. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I very early on identified opportunities to work with companies that allowed me to be able to work from home. I was a road warrior as a salesperson, so I did a lot of driving, I did a lot of flying, but I worked from a home office and had done very, very well in this career and had the opportunity to work for companies that I really got behind the mission and vision of the company. I didn't feel like I was just calling it in. And even in doing that, though, I had a point in my life where I experienced an event, right? Something that really, really shook me to my core. And in many ways made me reevaluate really and truly what I wanted to be doing. What types of things that I want to be focused on? How important was it that I was able to build a life that really allowed for me to be able to show up for my family, my 3 children, my husband, and had the opportunity to identify and realize that I was very, very good at what I was doing. So fast forward, Thanksgiving break one year, hadn't even thought about doing any type of entrepreneurial stuff. But I had an agency that was continually calling me specifically around expertise and my skill set. And they wanted me to connect with venture capitalists, boards that were looking to invest in the specific industry where I had expertise. And they would call and you would do these ad hoc conversations. So it was like they bill you, you bill them hourly for it. I think my rate at the time was like $250 an hour. It was easy because it was nothing that I had to do pre-work for. They would ask me questions about the industry. There was no NDA, all that other stuff. So no conflict there. And one day they asked me to do this call and it was right before Thanksgiving. And I remember saying to them, I can't do it because I'm here with my family on Thanksgiving, but like I can talk to this person on Monday. And they pressed me and they pressed me and they pressed me. And they to take this call, this 1 hour call while, right before Thanksgiving with this specific consultant agency. And I said $750, right, for that 1 hour. And they said sold. And it blew my mind. I wasn't even ready for it. I was like, what? For something that I don't even have to prep for, somebody values my expertise in that way. And I did that call and I came out of it and I said to my husband, I think I want to start consulting. And he was like, oh, on the side. I was like, no, full time. Like, I want to be able to create my own schedule, work with the clients that I want to work with and still be able to integrate this into our home life. And within 2 weeks, I had set up an LLC, I got an EIN, and I went to my employer at the time and said, hey, I'm leaving. And, I'm going to be consulting. I won't be able to continue on with you guys anymore, but I want to give you the opportunity to actually be my first client. And they said unequivocally yes. And I pivoted from W-2 to consulting with this company and started with a 6-figure consulting business on day one.
Wow.
And that's how I got started.
Wow. That is an amazing journey. And you said 2 weeks from conception to doing it and scaling quickly to 6 figures. So now let's transition that to what it is that you do now. Can you just share a little bit about how that story connects?
Yeah, absolutely. So that part of my business was the sales consulting, training, development, workshops, keynotes for high growth organizations who are looking to really and truly build out a sales team or who have a sales team and they're looking to get that sales team from anywhere, to their first 100 million. So typically starting maybe about anywhere from 10 to 15 million to their first 100 million. I support them as a consultant with helping them to be able to identify the skill set that they need for their teams, providing support for their managers and their leaders, and serving as a keynote for them at special events. That's still a part of our business today. As you know, though, at the beginning of 2020, a few months into our consultancy, there's a pretty big event,
Mm-hmm.
global event,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
happened that really put many folks who had corporate contracts in jeopardy and were super, super vulnerable. So even though I started off with that first client, they were a corporate client, and I had to figure out pretty quickly what I was going to do to build a little bit more diversity and different income streams into my business. And ultimately came to the point where I realized that although the sales consulting and workshop and training stuff was stuff that I was very good at and that I enjoyed doing, what my true passion was connecting with amazing BIPOC women, so Black and Brown women who have built businesses and they want to meet each other. They want to connect with each other. They want to build their business together because they're tired of and frustrated by being in spaces where they don't see others like them performing at the level that they're performing at, creating opportunities. So my goal was to be able to take what we would consider in the past kind of these country club relationships, these golf course relationships, and actually build them into a community that has a virtual and an in-person component, but really is centered around the experience of elevating Black and Brown women businesses. And that is how we created the Success Tribe community.
Yeah. Such insight and such power. And I was a special guest within the virtual session with the Success Tribe. And I know the in person event I think it's in Cancun. Is that what's happening?
And the upcoming one is in
Yes.
Cancun. So
Yes.
when this is actually airing, we'll probably be in Cancun. I would say probably at that point.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes. So
so yeah.
tell us about the Success Tribe, and then also tell us about where you will be.
Yeah. So the Success Tribe is really and truly an environment and a community that is built for the woman who is saying, I am actually doing really well in my business. I have a real live business, right? I'm hitting revenue goals, I'm putting KPIs in place. I am serving clients now at a level where I consider those folks to be my dream clients. But you know what? This is not where I was a year ago. And I actually feel like the environment and the people that I'm surrounded by and the circles that I'm in right now represent the me from last year. And I really and truly want to be in a space that represents the current and future version of who I am. A space that allows for me to be able to connect with other experts as boards of advisors who can really be able to help me to understand how I can grow my business, who can offer support for me, who can create visibility for me, and also being able to be surrounded by and create visibility with clients and potential clients who really and truly do represent who my new dream client is. So we do that through networking sessions, as you have attended. We network together twice a month, and that is really an opportunity to be able to help you make connections with women and brands and people who you might have never met before, but who are able to help you and you can help them to create these really mutually beneficial connections and opportunities. And then we get together twice a year internationally for an international experience called Collabs International. And this year we have been in Cancun. We were in Cancun in April, and we're in Cancun. We're going to be in Cancun in October. And next year we will be at different destinations, but always October and April, getting together. Think about what it would feel like to take your most favorite group of biz besties from LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, people that you already feel these strong, strong connections to, but maybe have never met in person. And then y'all getting together in a really luxurious location and truly making connections for each other and just shifting the space and the way that you collaborate. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And I used to hate networking.
Me too.
And just hearing what you've been able to create, and now you've curated it and you're inviting people in. And I can just say, just in the last week or two, the number of people that I've met, and now things have come out of those those relationships, some that I've benefited from, but there's other opportunities that I have allowed other people. It's come through me, and I'm
That's
just a
right.
conduit.
Same. Same.
And
Exactly.
it's amazing. So you have the success tribe, and if can you speak to those women who, if they want some new business besties, if they
Mhm.
want to get into the room with 6 and 7 figure, I don't know, did you say eight? Do you have 8 figure earners in your
Yeah,
group?
we have 8 in there. We have 8 and 9
You have
too.
eight
We
and
yeah.
nine
Yeah.
figure women. How do they get a hold of you and get into that room?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I would say is we like to give people the opportunity to kind of check out who we are and what we do. Because pretty early on they figure out this is for me, or this isn't for me. So we actually have a free Facebook group that we encourage people to join so that they can be able to see what some of the interactions that are happening between our collab circle members are, so that they can be able to see what our networking sessions look like. So anybody that's watching this, if you go to thesuccesstribe.com, thesuccesstribe.com, you have an opportunity to go ahead and to connect with our group. And if you're saying, Deanna, that sounds great, but you know what? I want to go straight to the source. I want to connect with you directly, because I am excited about making these connections faster, and easier, that are going to lead to the even more money than I already have, more revenue, more opportunities. Then just go to meetwithdeanna.com. Meetwithdeanna.com, and you'll be able to set up a collab chat, and we can figure out what level makes the most sense for you and how we can make it easier and faster for you to continue to elevate the connections for that next level of you.
Yes, and I can testify that the person that you see in front of you is the person you're going to get on the call. Deanna is warm, she's caring. Our conversation just kind of flowed. We could tell we had the same, energy, we had the same goals, and it was a pleasure just to chat and to collab, right? That's the buzzword. We just collabed, and it felt just like a girlfriend conversation. And so if you are in that space and you need those different besties, go ahead and reach out, check them out, and jump into that networking group, be a guest, and then move forward. And I
Yeah,
think that will serve you as well as your business. So
yeah, I
any
yeah, we're excited.
any final thoughts before we close up shop today?
No, I just want to say, it's so important on this journey as entrepreneurs, especially if you are like me and a first generation entrepreneur, and first of many things, right? Like, first to be able to hit certain income goals, first to be able to have certain professional accomplishments, first entrepreneur. It's critically important to be in a space with others who understand what it's like to be in that space, but also where there's not judgment, but also folks who are going to require you to take action.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to allow you to be complacent in a space. And there's just something to be said about being in a room where you're not the smartest, where you're an expert in what you do, but you know that every single person that you're talking to is an expert in what they do. So,
Mm-hmm.
in a room was really mutually beneficial to add value, but also to be able to gain value. There's just really nothing like it. So
Mm-hmm.
we would love, if any of this resonates with you, we'd love to see you in the Success Tribe. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank Dr. Marcia. Thank you so much for a chance to connect with your community and for sharing your community, because I don't take it lightly. I know how it is. And you guard your community the same way that I guard mine. And I am truly grateful. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Deanna, for being who you are, for opening up your doors to the Success Tribe and the knowledge that you dropped today. And I look forward to collabing again. Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
And there you have it. That was Deanna Jean. I told you she was phenomenal. And she, as I said, she dropped some gems. She gave us some knowledge. She shared her story. And from there, you too can transition from what it is you've been doing to doing the thing that you love, the thing that's going to serve someone else. But the thing that's always missing is the tribe. The thing that's missing are the connects. And you can jump over to thesuccesstribe.com. Go ahead and check her out. And I am Dr. Marcia. This is the Destiny Exposure Summit. And this is where the speakers tell their story, where they touch their tribe, and where they expand their territory. Stay tuned for more.